Hello friends, welcome back to the Divorce Broadcast channel. My name is Many Segarra, coming to you from Miami, Florida. One of my all-time favorite lyrics in a song is when Kanye West sings in Gold Digger, "We want prenup, we want prenup." That's right, today we're going to talk all about prenuptial agreements. Before we get started, a couple words of advice. First, never spring a prenuptial agreement on your fiance less than a week before the wedding. Never a good idea, because instead of enjoying the pre-wedding ceremonies, like the rehearsal dinner, hanging out with family and friends, hanging out with bridesmaids and groomsmen, they're going to be in an office with somebody like me negotiating what happens if you get divorced. Bad idea. Also, traditionally, prenuptial agreements are something that usually men were asking for or men wanted to get when they got married. Ladies, a word to you. All of you are attending college in greater numbers than men. All of you are attending professional schools in greater quantities than men. All of you are starting to catch up and at times surpass the earning income of men. So ladies, if you're a lawyer, an accountant, a doctor, if you're in the educational system or a firefighter or a police officer, listen up, because this involves you as well. So, why do people start or request prenuptial agreements? Well, usually the number one reason that people ask for a prenuptial agreement is because it ain't their first rodeo. They've been married before and it ended in disaster. They got divorced, they had to go to court, they spent a lot of money, their spouse or their ex-spouse is now with a new boyfriend or girlfriend or both, living their best life. So people, after they have a unfortunate divorce the first time around, they want a little bit more protection and ask for a prenup. Also, if they have children from a different marriage or a different relationship, they want a little bit more leeway to be able to give property and financial security to all of their children. So that's also a concern. Additionally, if they have elderly family that they care for, let's say they have a parent or an older sibling that they're caring for, they want a little bit more discretion where they can spend their money. Finally, some people worry about inheritances. If a family member or a relative is going to give a fiance a large inheritance or home or something like that, they want to be afforded a little bit more protection. Most states allow for inheritance to be separate from a marital estate anyway, but sometimes if you use it a certain way or if you commingle it with marital funds, there could be a marital component. So that's why people want to maybe get a prenup. So let's talk about the intricacies of a prenup. Number one, it must be in writing. You don't just get to have a handshake deal. You have to have a document that is formal, in writing, and it talks about how the assets and liabilities, the premarital ones and the postmarital ones, will be separated. Number two, and probably the most important part, there must be full financial disclosure. That means that each fiance has to provide the other with bank statements, financial statements. I like to provide income tax returns to the other fiance. In addition to that, you would consider a list of any real property that each fiance owns. So if the fiance owns a residence that they live in, additional rental properties, or if they have like an Airbnb, they have to disclose that information over to the other fiance. In addition to that, if there's a business or a corporation, corporate taxes should be considered disclosed so that each fiance is aware of how the other earns their money, their income. If there's any type of novelty stuff like a jewelry collection, a watch collection, gold coins, crypto, all of that must be disclosed. The number one reason that courts usually vacate premarital or prenuptial agreements is because there was not full financial disclosure, and one of the fiancés was not fully aware of what the financial resources were of the other. Also, the timing is important. You don't necessarily want to sign the prenuptial agreement the day before the wedding, because the court can consider that to be a little bit of coercion. You want to try to do it at least a couple weeks or a month before the actual ceremony. You can put language in the prenuptial agreement that can safeguard in the event that the signing of the prenuptial agreement is a little bit close to the wedding, but it's always a good idea to try to do it a couple weeks in advance. One of the sticking points and one of the main arguments in a prenuptial agreement is what to do about alimony. In a lot of the prenuptial agreements, one spouse will say, "Oh, I am never going to pay alimony." And the other spouse may be of the position that if they're going to be married for 10, 15, 20 years, and they're going to be a homemaker, and they're going to help take care of the kids and support the career of the other, they should get some alimony. So alimony is usually a hot topic, a hot discussion when it comes to negotiating prenups. What have I seen in some of these prenuptial agreements? I've seen a prenuptial agreement in which there was a monetary award in the event that a spouse, fiance cheated on the other. For instance, it said, if you cheat on me, then I'm going to get a significant amount of money. I've seen prenuptial agreements that allow for alimony after a certain amount of years. So maybe after 5, 10 years, the fiance will be entitled to get alimony after that amount of time, which is a little bit different because in Florida law, you don't get permanent alimony until a significant amount of time, usually after 17 years, unless there's some sort of exceptional circumstance. I've also seen agreements where, for instance, after a certain amount of time, you get a certain amount of alimony. So for every 3 years that you're married, you get a year of alimony, or for every 6 years, you get half the length of the marriage. So if you're married 6 years, you get 3 years of alimony. If you're married 8, you get 4. If you're married 10, you get 5, etc., etc. I have also seen what they like to call sunset clauses. A sunset clause is an expiration date of the prenuptial agreement. That means, like, if you get married January 1st, 2023, at December 31st, 2032, which is 9 years, at 10 years to the date, the prenup will expire and no longer be in effect. I have also seen where there's a sunset clause, the spouse file for divorce right before the sunset clause. So just because you sign a sunset clause doesn't mean that the sun is going to come out. So that's pretty much the deal when it comes to thinking about prenuptial agreements. Obviously, each case is different. If you know anybody that would like to consult with an attorney regarding prenuptial agreements, we would be happy to help out. Please note that we have offices in Miami and Orlando. Please hit the subscribe button, like the video, share the video with family and friends, and look us up at www.segarralawfirm.com. Se habla español, and we will see you all soon. That's the word on prenuptial agreements. Thank you.